Welcome back, everyone. We've got episode 29. We're talking about augmented reality and virtual reality and whether AR is dead.
And have some marketing examples and history. And actually, Romuald this time really had a different perspective on this view, which is becoming not a common thing.
Yeah. But the main thing is that we looked at AR and VR. We're covering more AR because I forgot we were covering VR.
I'm going to carry that one.
So Alex will be carrying the VR side. He knows more about VR anyway. And in my case, I'll be talking about AR because I'm kind of fascinated by it because it's easy to implement and there's a whole bunch of ways. Well, we'll talk about it more then.
Yeah, so we're going to have a little bit of a balance and we're going to be starting off. Do you know when the first AR popped up?
I have no idea. I looked at your notes briefly and it was something in the 1800s.
Exactly. So basically, they call it an unexpected origin. So the core idea of AR predates computers with the roots of 19th century optical illusions like the stereoscope, or they call it the Pepper's ghost. So basically, do you know what's the Pepper's ghost?
I don't know what the Pepper's ghost is, but the stereoscope, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the thingy that you look through, and then it makes basically wiggles with a lot of different lights.
There's a little bit of kaleidoscopic sort of thing going on, and it's just a few crystals in there that twist the impression you have of the light that's coming in.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I look at you through it, that I kind of see you, and if I twist it, then you are still in reality, but you're in a twisted reality, which is like augmented reality through lights.
It's like carrying a funhouse mirror in your pockets.
In a way. So I think this like a Pepper's ghost was basically a technique where they used in theaters of like reflecting through like a glass light if there's a ghost on the screen. It's still a very actually widely used technique with like avatars and stuff like that, but that was where it started. So basically the conceptual forebears and early experiments, the idea overlaying an artificial image into a real world traces back to the early optical illusions starting in the 1830s to 1960s. So Charles Weatherstone in 1838 stereoscope created 3D illusion from a 2D image, a foundation principle for modern, they called HDM, so like kind of a head device. In the 1860s, the Pepper's ghost illusion used to glass to make actors appear as a ghost on stage. In the mid-20th century, it's still used. They call it kind of sensorama, multisensory theater cabinets in the 1960s, and telesphere mask in the first ever head-mounted display. How HMD is head-mounted display. That's the abbreviation, establishing a wearable form factor for immersive technology. So basically, it went from having this mirror in the theater where like they would hide an actual person underneath the stage, project a light under a folded glass. I know it's very weird when you're not seeing it and listening to it, and it would appear that there's a ghost on the stage that was actually not there. There was a guy underneath the stage who would be like dancing or pretending acting. So it was very interesting how they did it. And all these like sensory devices, it was basically you're sitting in this machine and you put your head into the machine that would have like multiple screens around you. And you would like look around and you're like, oh wow, I'm in this world now. So it's very weird, but like it's like beginning of how they would do it.
That's the beginning of VR, that one.
As well. So there's also a lot of things that they did. I called this what was it called? I think it was called the Sword of Damocles. So basically,
Sword of Damocles.
Yeah, Damocles. Sorry, the Sword of Damocles is a well-known idiom referring to a situation where constant or imminent threat or danger hangs over someone like a sword. So basically the first AR headset in 1968 was so heavy it had to be suspended from the ceiling, earning its kind of intimidating nickname. And basically augmented reality was coined by Boeing in the 1990s, because what they did, it was so complicated to kind of work on the wiring systems within the planes. So what they did, they basically drew it on a paper, stick it on a light, some sort of flashlight, and it would basically project on a Boeing the wires that would be behind it for them to make it easier to drill or to connect or to kind of lay out the things. So basically it was by basically workers on the assembly aircraft wiring system. That's who did this. It's super weird. So but that's where the actual augmented reality as a term was coined.
Any idea what the uses were?
So basically, it's about connecting. Let me check it out here. So basically, in the 1990s, AR emerged in a distant field. So Boeing researchers Tom Caudle, he coined the term of augmented reality to describe and display an overlay digital wiring diagram onto an assembly board to help workers establishing kind of AR core value, enhancing the real world tasks, but basically to connect wires correctly. So he's like, let me project something on a wall and correct and connect things. So it's kind of like flashing a map on something, and they called it AR because it was augmenting the reality. Imagine there's a wall, but you don't see the wires behind the wall. But if you project the what is behind the wall, it's kind of augmenting your wall to know what are the wires behind. So that's how they called the augmented reality back then in the 1990s. Again, it's like only 35 years ago.
Yeah, but some of these definitions are getting a bit too broad, because now then is like having kaleidoscopic light in your room also kind of AR.
Yeah, but that was like 150 years ago, so they didn't know a better way of saying it. But they kind of now, having this modern knowledge, will look back and say, well, actually, that's kind of a thing. And like the Boeing, that it was kind of an AR, because now the way we see it is very different from the way it was actually like they saw it. So they didn't know how to actually call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they also had, let me just look at my list because they have so many. One other cool thing that they did was during a football game. So what they did in in the US when they would play rugby or football, American football, they would put on the TV, they would put like a line, like a red line or a yellow line that would indicate if someone like crossed the line or not.
Yeah.
So it was the first time using augmented reality through a TV to add a line. It sounds very basic at the moment, but back then it was like super crazy how they would put that red line, basically on the sports television. So basically, those are like a few examples that they did it, but it's very interesting. And of course, I have all the different, where it came from and how it used. But right now, it's also used in a lot of situations. For example, IKEA. IKEA had an app that they released in 2017 that you can just download. You select whatever couch you want or whatever closet you want. It would point your camera, and then you would see how it would look like in your environment. So it would position it and so on.
I've used that.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah, when I wanted to buy a couch. It's a really handy app, actually. You just give your room dimensions, and then you can position it anywhere and see what it might look like. And the fidelity was pretty high. Granted, I was using a pretty basic white couch, so it looked quite nice even in like the 3D model render. But
they actually said that it increases the conversion rate and decreases the return rate.
I have studies on that.
Perfect.
We're gonna cover it.
Yeah, and some of the actually like latest projects when it comes to AR, it's Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah.
No one thought of Pokemon Go as a like AR project. They thought it's a game, right?
I instantly thought it was AR. When I first encountered it, I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the thing is that it was actually, well, we're talking about AR technology, that it came from like these old methods of like augmenting it. But when the phones came, it not automatically became like this. When the cameras became a thing, let's say on the phone or the smartphone, only then they kind of solved or had the technology and solved the solution of actually augmenting things through your phone. And now phones are also becoming very powerful. So it becomes much more easy to create this augmented reality, which is why the IKEA app was such a success. When it comes to Pokemon Go as a game, it was such a success because it could identify where you're looking at. Are you vertical? Where's the ground? Where's the ceiling? And you could position like monsters or whatever Pokemons correctly. Also, you can think about how you can already enhance, let's say, construction works. I've seen in development how they use AR. So a guy, let's say, gets a model from the architect. And the one who did like a model of, let's say, of a canister or something. And you as a worker, you can take the phone, download this specific app for your specific case. You're like, okay. And you point at the building or you point next to the building and see if the thing is going to fit.
Yeah.
Like, where do we going to place this big canister? Here or there? And you can kind of position it in augmented reality first before actually doing it.
Yeah, that's exactly how the IKEA app works.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the use cases are different. So in development, in construction, in IKEA, in manufacturing, and the last one is e-commerce.
Yeah.
So AR is used in right now in China. I've seen that you can basically walk into a dressing room and you can pick anything you
And then
want.
it'll do the holographic
Yeah,
display
yeah,
thing.
yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
anything from the store without actually trying it on, it will tell you, and then it's like, oh yeah, you can go and pick those things if you like, and then you go and you can like dress them up, and then the same thing, conversion increases. Even in augmented reality, when you use the filters online, we spoke in the first part about how bad it is,
Yeah.
like to do that, but basically the conversion is 95% better if you
Yeah.
use this try on. Nike had as well an application, maybe they still have it, when you basically pick the shoes you want, you point at your foot, and then it's gonna show you how it's gonna look like, and then maybe your size as well automatically, which is
Nice.
crazy.
No, I like that. These sorts of visualizations I always really like, and they give jobs to hardworking 3D artists.
Yeah, for now.
For now, we have to specify. But at the same time, I was looking at some stats for VR.
Hmm.
The primary uses of VR are in gaming, 61%,
Yeah, fair.
healthcare, 41%,
I'm curious about that. I have some examples.
education, 41%, obviously museums and stuff,
I
that
agree.
counts. Automotive and manufacturing, 23%.
Hmm.
I guess simulations are much easier on them.
I'm thinking about it right now. It's also could be like a marketing material.
No, because flight simulators count as VR.
Okay, fair
Right?
enough.
And there's that. And then like TV and movie industry, obviously. 21% only. I was expecting more, to be honest.
It's not that easy, and it's not such a big sector, so no one's actually doing that.
Yeah. But I was judging by the amount of like VR restaurants that are in Amsterdam alone.
Mm.
There used to be like 3 of them. You'd be like, oh, okay, this must be a thing.
Yeah, so I have a few examples for the ones you're mentioning. For the gaming, it's very obvious. For
Yeah,
healthcare, I remember during COVID. So what happened during COVID? Because you couldn't be in the hospitals, and they still had to train the medical personnel. So what they would do, they would send you a VR set to your home with the app installed on it already, and of the hospital. So like it's a 3D model or kind of digital twin of the building, and you put the goggles on and you walk around in the building, because the building is like hundreds of thousands of square meters, huge hospital with whatever. And then if you would be in sector B, you have to know where's sector B, where's the third floor, where's the room,
Yeah.
and then you would be trained about the basically where to find things in the hospital using VR set. Then you would be also trained as a medical practitioner. For example, if you're supporting a surgeon, every hospital apparently, that's based on what I read, I'm not an expert, but every hospital apparently has their own layouts of rooms, operation rooms. So in every operation room, there's, let's say, a closet on the left and a sink on the left, like right, whatever.
Yeah.
So you, as a medical practitioner, you basically would know where things are. You can open drawers in VR. You can pick out tools in VR from their specific places. And then after these trainings, when the people would come, like COVID ended and people would start working in the hospital, they would get tested. They're like, oh, you need to show me where the room 3B is. And they would
Nice.
have to, in sector A, and they would have to find that. They say, hey, you have to, in the operation room, find me 7 tools. And they would know where the tools are because they did exactly the same thing in VR. So that's in the medical world, it was used to practice pretty much.
Yeah, I think VR would also be handy in like surgery and stuff.
As well,
Like,
yeah.
but hey, identify parts of the brain before you're going to go poking around in them.
That's also true. So that can be interesting. But this is one of the use cases. In education, I'm a great example of that because I have a VR set right there.
Yeah.
What I use it for, it's a game, not promoting, but it's a very cool game. It's called Noun Town. So what you do, you put on the VR set and now you're transferred into this black and white world where you say, I want to learn Portuguese, for example, right?
Okay.
And then you're in this world where everything's black and white. And to make the world colorful, you have to pick up an item. You can listen, so you put your hand to your ear and you
Identify it.
You can
Yeah.
listen in, let's say, Portuguese. What is the pronunciation of that? You click the button and you have to pronounce it yourself. If you get it right, the item lights up and becomes colorful, and you can put it back where it kind of came from. So you have like coffee places, you have bakeries, restaurants, sauna, whatever, beach, street, and you have all these environments where you can open up the environment by learning a language in those virtual worlds. For education purposes, well, this for one case that I know for the language, it's great. It's amazing. Like, I really love it. it's also engaging because you're not only reading a book or watching a video, you're part of the world, you're listening, you're speaking,
Yeah.
and you're talking to these avatars.
You're kind of physically interacting, so it builds muscle memory as well.
Yeah, probably when you see a situation, you're like, oh, this is the word in this situation because I was in it.
Yeah.
So super cool. It's like, it's very engaging. And I've seen statistics before I did this, like downloaded this game and did that basically the retention is like 90% better.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. Like, you have to gamify stuff to make it good, but usually companies are just like, make it like Duolingo where it threatens you if you don't.
I am not a banana. Say that in another language.
And then it's like, you're going to lose your streak. Oh no. But this sounds much more engaging, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Well, so I totally agree. And maybe last one in the automotive, what I've seen, how marketeers used it in automotive VR set. So you come into a car dealer, and then you sit down in a car, you're like, oh yeah, it's like any other car, but they would put a VR set on you, and it would be the exactly same like outline, the same model of the car, and they would put you through a production process, like production line. And then you would sit in the car, you can look around, and you can see how the car is being built by these machines while you're in the car. And then you can take parts of the car, like because you have the controllers, you can take the parts of the car, you can take a look at this, you can open it up, you can close it back, so that you can basically engage with the car inside out through the manufacturing process. And they also said that there was like increase of like 60% of sales when people did the like VR experience while sitting in a car dealership.
Huh.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah. This is off topic slightly, but it's kind of related to AR, VR. You know about like, they made a movie about this. The game Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
There was this entire team of drivers that only ever played the game, but they beat records on the actual tracks.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen somewhere that, well, I mean, in Formula One, they practice a lot in these pods. Like, it's reality related. So Formula One drivers, they also practice in these cockpits using VR.
I mean, it's far less expensive.
That's true.
Like, to only do a practice on the track, you would burn through so many tires
and gas, and maybe if you get in an accident here, you're like, okay, it's not real.
Yeah, and the less wear and tear on your car, the better. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
It's like it's basically the width of tissue paper, the way they file them down for ultimate speed.
Yeah. So like, but that's interesting as well. A use case of that.
Yeah. Then anything else on there?
Well, for me, it's more like about the engine of immersion. So a kind of deconstructing augmented reality technology. So they called it the chicken and an egg problem solver. So the magic behind the actual AR, it's called SLAM.
Yeah.
It's simultaneous localization and mapping. So it's going to get a little bit geeky for everyone as well who's listening.
Go for it. That's what
but
we're here for.
basically a technology that solves a paradox to build a map. So you need to know your location. But like to know your location, you need a map, and SLAM, which is simultaneous localization and mapping, knows that. So right now, Google Maps as well has this like tell me where I am and where I'm looking at. So you just basically point at anything, and because it has the Google Maps, it will identify where you are and where you're looking at on the map. And of course, phones make it much easier nowadays to do that, because phones are now, they called it like more than a camera. So your phone AR is stable. Because it fuses the camera data and the motion data and kind of internal sensor data, the kind of IO. When the camera gets confused, the motion sensor takes over to prevent virtual objects from drifting, right? So sometimes I remember I was playing Pokemon Go, and I'm like putting basically the camera on my couch, and I can see my Pokemon because I have like a million security and blocking mechanisms in my house. Yeah. My Pokemon starts like sliding away. I'm like, okay, that's a bug, and then he's like went to infinity. So it's very funny. And basically AR memory, right? So the advanced SLAM includes, they call it loop closure. So when the system recognizes and previously seen location and uses it to correct the accumulated errors, so making the map more accurate. So if you put, let's say, goggles or like a VR set, so the same with VR, the same with AR, you can position things within your environment, and then it remembers.
Yeah.
So for example, my VR set, it knows when I'm in my office, it knows when I'm in the living room, it knows where I am, like where am I, and you kind of create this map, like surrounding that, like the secure area, and it memorizes that. And if there's an object there that it was not there before, when you put the VR set, it will tell you that, hey, there's an object that was not there before. It will highlight it red and
Do you
say
want to
to move
remap it?
Yeah, remap it or move it or something like that. So it's pretty cool. But obviously, not all devices they can do that. If your phone is a little bit less powerful, it cannot do some filters, cannot do this kind of mapping. And others, obviously, like wearable devices, they're very expensive or very limited or just very heavy. But yeah, it's very interesting in terms of like how it works. Yeah, so this is the other part I wanted to cover, is just that like not every, let's say, like how the technology works, where it comes from, where is it used, and obviously like what's the idea behind it, why it actually exists, and yeah, why it makes sense. So for me, that was also pretty cool because yeah, it's again more geeky part, but now you know how it works.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's a bit of industry stat.
Tell me.
One thing that's not really usually considered AR or VR, but because it's so commonplace, is digital avatars. You know, like you have your Wii U guy, and you have yourself on the VR version,
Yeah.
and then you have like all of these, whether you're in the PlayStation Store, whether you're playing a game, that it accounts for 82% of the revenue share.
Would never have think about that.
But there's billions of them.
That's true.
Yeah. AR avatars are increasingly bringing the physical and digital worlds together. AR glasses and smartphone cameras bring interactive digital elements to the chosen platform, while more and more retailers will use them as virtual assistants and can provide tailored support and personalized offers and recommendations.
This sounds like just personalization.
Yeah. But they're a form of, well, your account. Think about that. That's just an AR avatar, usually.
Yeah, I mean, I never used those actually. I never created a single avatar. I think I'm just a security freak. I'm like, I'm not gonna generate myself. I just create
But sometimes you can't help it. Like I wanted to play Wii bowling with a friend, and I had to create one. I didn't pay anything for it. But
yeah, but did you make it look like you? Yeah, but that's the point. Then I did create them, but they never look like
there
me.
you
Like
go.
I
That's
never
what I mean, though.
Yeah, I never take a picture of myself or anything to make it personalized. I just create a whatever.
Yeah, there's probably billions of them considering how many times you have to make these.
That's also true. So yeah, that's interesting.
Moving on, let's get to how much these things cost. Do you have a ballpark figure?
No, but I would say I think I got mine. It was 400 euros.
Ah,
That's like a very cheapo version of Quest 2.
Yeah. No. I'm talking about the app development.
App develop. Oh, I thought you meant about the device. No idea. Probably like in the hundreds of thousands.
So a straightforward AR app can be about 300,000.
Great.
So this is for like custom rich versions, obviously. But then there are other things that aren't really AR apps that can be perfectly fine. Like, for example, like when we were at university, these friends of ours, we were given an assignment like, how would you do this kind of thing? This museum wants to like make their displays more interactive, and they created a QR code and had a 3D model that you could like hover over it with an AR kind of way. You know, that cost nothing.
Yeah,
so,
fair.
If you're looking for something very basic AR, don't worry, it's practically free. But a good AR with the entire SLAM sort of integrations is gonna be much more expensive.
Yeah, I did as well in the university. I had to create a game as well. It's called ARG, so Augmented Reality Gaming, but it should have been in real life. So I called it something like a spy or whatever. So what you had to do, you had to go around the city, find clues based on the text prompt. I actually wrote it in Flash. I made a Flash game.
Nice.
On PC, but it was like...
Should have been on Newgrounds.
Because I didn't know better. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to create a Flash game. It was super simple. You would click it and go to the next whatever page and ask you a question. And then you would have to go around the city, scan things, find things, or kind of like a city quest in a way.
Cool.
To get to know the city, answer the questions, and find the clues. And it was like augmented reality
like a treasure
gaming.
hunt or like
Exactly. So it is in real life, but you use, let's say, a digital prompt, and I called it augmented reality gaming.
You just need a digital interface for it. Already.
Exactly, yeah. So it was not like a mapped version.
Yeah, that kind of thing usually costs between $2,600 to $15,000.
Here you go. I did it for free for a university assignment.
Those are called marker-based augmented reality apps.
Here you go.
And then there's like markerless ones. That's another type. These basically also use SLAM, but at a much higher level. So it's like it is usually implemented using out-of-the-box software that comes with SDKs, software development kits, such as Vufuria Engine. Sorry, I have trouble with that word. Kudan and Wikitude, to name a few. SLAM-based AR solutions understand the surroundings by getting visual data in the form of point clouds, needing no markers. Today, most of them are based on surface recognition and position tracking for placing 3D objects around the user.
Yeah, well, the mainstream kind of adoption became because Google actually released it's called AR Toolkit from Google, and they made it public, and they basically this framework that has the SLAM inside the box, like
Yep.
say out of the box already, and they could use that SDK into application. So again, Google democratized and made it public to everyone to use their AR toolkit, and that's why it became much faster and easier, because they realized that it's too expensive to actually every time redevelop it. So they made it public so that everyone creates apps that they upload to the App Store and they get a cut from it. So that was kind of a selfless and selfish at the same time of like opening it up, but to make sure that people develop apps for their App Store.
Yeah, I mean, Google's main currency is data, and SLAM is a great way of gathering data.
Yeah.
And so per 3D model, it can cost between $2,000 and $6,000 to create one 3D model within AR and VR.
It's interesting because depending, I think, on what's the use case.
That's based on wages.
Okay, gotcha.
not based on like
project.
Yeah. That's based on like the wages of the
Okay.
Of the people participating, of the 3D artists.
Because I've seen as well a lot of people in real estate use that. So, but they use already their camera or like a 360 camera that they walk around through like let's say the rooms to create a map of the bit like of basically of your house, and it automatically knows what the square meters, it automatically knows what items are in, and it can create like a bird's eye view of your floor layout just by that 360 camera. And then if you use that, they can also create like this point, how was it called, the point AR.
You
just mentioned it.
Freaking the marker based.
Yeah, marker based. Yeah, so basically marker based AR, where you can move through the house using these kind of jump markers. And even in VR sets, when you have a map, you can move by joystick or you can move by jumps into these kind of points on the map or in the space. So it's very interesting that it's also being used everywhere, and it's actually very cool. But I'm curious that I haven't seen that in a while already, but I know that it was used quite a lot. It's not maybe the most popular way. No, for me, I kind of like tried to understand like, the new marketing reality and strategic applications and kind of proven impact. I have a very interesting table right here. It has 3 parts: factor, augmented reality, and virtual reality. So it basically goes through, hardware, immersion level, key kind of weaknesses in both of them. I'm going to go through all of those, and you can comment on any one of those. I'm just curious what you think, if this aligns with you. So the core concept for AR is enhancing reality by overlaying a digital content on something, and VR is basically replacing reality with a fully synthetic environment. So you position yourself by putting this big machine on your head. So the immersion levels, partial and contextual when it comes to AR, because user remains aware of their physical surroundings and just augment something into the reality they're in. And then VR obviously is a total all-encompassing user isolated from the physical world situation. And you can obviously, as you said, you're in a cockpit or you're in a car or you're in a plane or you're in this world where you have to make it colorful, so you kind of put yourself into another world. People actually get very sick. Some people get very sick when they do a VR set.
I get a headache after a little bit.
For me, I'm absolutely fine. I even tried boxing in this. Like there's like a boxing game, super cool. I like it, so sweaty. but I never get disoriented. And some people, when they play like we played a board game with a friend, and then what they said basically, because you can twist the board, so normally you would imagine that the board is on the floor, like horizontal on a table, but there you can twist it. You can twist the board being like 45 degrees or something, but because then the whole room twists, it kind of messes up your understanding of where up and down is, because you're in this virtual world and people get very sick and but from this. The primary hardware when it comes to AR is smartphones, tablets, and smart glasses now, which is a very developing thing. And for VR, it's obviously VR headsets like MetaQuest, the one I have, Apple Vision that is not going to be released anymore, and you have like Vivo and other ones that are a little bit more expensive. In terms of user accessibility, I think this is a pretty interesting one, because that's where the disconnect happens, because not everyone understands and needs that, right? So when it comes to AR, it's very high when it's comes to accessible for billions of existing devices with very low friction. You can use your phone. So it's very high user accessibility. When it comes to VR, it's very low because it requires a purchase of a dedicated hardware, creating a significant barrier, and developing that is also very different.
It's also expensive. Like
yes,
AR can happen on just like your phone.
Yeah, exactly. And what you mentioned, it's also like it can be expensive. It's also very heavy still. So if you sit with it, like bend it over, your neck starts hurting. And the quality is not that great for some instances, because you're pretty much wearing a computer on your head. But if you're going to connect it to desktop, then it becomes a little bit more, let's say, higher quality and so on. But then you need a powerful machine.
Yeah.
So that's like in terms of accessibility, ideal marketing goal, right? So when it comes to AR, the product visualization, contextual information, quick brand engagement, kind of driving trial, when we spoke a few minutes ago about use cases of that's pretty much it. Like I think it's about enhancing the experience, but when it comes to VR, it's kind of deep branded storytelling, complex simulations, virtual events, and immersive training that you can do when you're already in it. So it's kind of same but different. In the different use cases.
But that's the funny thing. VR is doing a lot of the stuff that you're supposed to do on your computer, for example, like games and so on, and learning and so on. But taking it making it even more immersive.
Yes, exactly. And I like that part actually. So the strengths are for AR are scalability, real world context, high shareability, and low user friction, which for VR is uninterrupted attention, high emotional impact, complete control over the environment, because you can just take it off and that's it.
For AR, a lot of the uses include e-commerce, like virtual try-ons, as we already mentioned, and stuff like interior design.
Yeah.
So these sorts of things are much more handy because you can do them with your phone, as we mentioned.
Yeah, but also you do it once. Like that's also like a little bit of a problem when it comes to AR, because like I used it and that's it. So like, what's the payoff, right? You don't have like this constant subscription machine that is going to be bringing you money.
But that's also because AR on a basic level can be much cheaper.
Unless you're pretending you have a Down syndrome on Snapchat.
You're gonna have to watch the news episode to understand that one.
Yeah, you need part 1. We discussed that. That's terrible. Anyway, so the key weaknesses when it comes to AR.
We're gonna think that is so random.
You have to listen to part 1. The key weaknesses when it comes to AR, its potential for real-world distractions, experience limited by screen size. So for me, I've seen, for example, people get distracted right now in cars. When you look at the front, let's say, window, they sometimes project the speed, and then it kind of augments your whatever reality or projects that. So that can be a little bit distracting. But when it comes to the weakness, when it comes to VR, it's just hardware. Literally physical isolation, motion sickness, as I mentioned with that board game, and high hardware costs, because you need that like processing power. And top use cases, what you said, virtual try-on, which is called VTO, interactive packaging, gamified filters, product visualization. And for VR, that's kind of virtual showrooms, brand story worlds, immersive training, virtual travel experiences. This is another big one, which was actually capitalized a lot during the metaverse period, where it's like, oh, if you have a disability, you cannot travel somewhere, you can put a VR set and kind of transfer yourself to like an expedition or a world that you will never see, for example.
Yeah, VR chat exploded in that era.
Here we go.
So everybody was on it. All the content was like linguists going and surprising people with their language skills.
Right, but this is pretty cool. I really like that. I really find myself enjoying even gaming in VR sets. But for when it comes to augmented reality, I'm a little bit more conservative because the problem is the same. Like again, we're coming back to security.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, let me take a picture of everything I have in my house. So now every time I point my camera, it's gonna gather the data. What is where, what it is, what is augmented. In VR, it always has to scan your environment so you don't hit your head on the wall, right? But then like I have to scan everything all the time, every day to make sure that Facebook knows, that Meta
Yeah, I
knows.
know. That's one issue, but at the same time, with the a very simple AR app like the IKEA one, they don't need a picture of your room. They just need the dimensions. They're like
That's true.
approximately how big is it? And you're like from wall to wall, it's like I don't know, 20 meters or something, and then it adjusts.
Yeah, that's true. But you don't know if they filmed that stuff and send it out like right away. The biggest concern for like limitation as well. It's the costs. Not only the hardware with the AR, it's about running the cloud servers, right? Where things are going to be aggregated, where they can adjust to whatever environment you need. It's all the data that they have to process and upload and keep to make that work.
Yeah.
So the problem is just like energy, like cloud servers. I understand that it sounds easy, but like that was one actually of the biggest limitations when it comes to scalability of the industries, that just cost. But the good news is it's becoming faster, cheaper, and the hardware is becoming cheaper and faster. The cloud servers are becoming more smart and cheaper and faster, and they eat less energy. And so that's the interesting part.
So AR boosts for businesses. It boosts engagement rates,
Yep.
conversion rates,
Yep.
customer satisfaction,
Yep.
brand loyalty.
Yep.
Yeah, these are the main things, and you should be measuring those if you're implementing AR type things, and keep these as KPIs.
Yeah, the more interesting thing was the products with AR content basically see a 94% higher conversion rate. And basically, post-purchase, AR value extends beyond the sale, so kind of interactive manuals sometimes can replace paper instructions and 3D overlays. So basically, now you can point ChatGPT or whatever, or Gemini like camera into something, tell me what it is, right? So it's kind of, and they can tell you, they can maybe build a model or visualize. So this kind of, basically visualizations of your reality, or let's say manuals in this case, basically helps you to kind of build your brand loyalty. Because if you don't know what it is or where the thing comes from, let's say a part of the couch, you're like, what is this, which part is that? And you can tell you which part is that. So again, that's more post-purchase consideration and conversion, and obviously awareness. It's all about like I have a great example that I see right here. Gamified advertising. The Burger King had an ad that was called Burn That Ad. The campaign transforms passive ads into active. So basically they would get discounts by going and pointing the app, the camera, into, let's say, McDonald's advertising, and then it would burn it and then give you a discount.
Into a Burger King one.
Yeah, so like you basically would get a discount anytime you burn a competitor's ad with the app.
Not bad at all.
So that's a pretty cool kind of engagement and brand awareness technique.
Also, I just wanted to raise that AR games can make money. Pokemon Go made $38 million.
Wow.
Aside from that, there are a few other ones. The Harry Potter game, what's called Wizards Unite, that made $200,000.
Wow, I haven't played that one.
I mean, neither have I, honestly.
Yeah, there was one very cool game that I played from Niantic Project that was actually from 2017, before Pokemon Go. So Pokemon Go apparently was overlaid on top of the Niantic Project game, and I played it actually.
The Harry Potter one was also Niantic, by the way.
Here you go. These guys just copy-paste whatever they're doing, but it was very interesting because you were kind of like a part of the clan, and you have to go into two different locations.
Yeah.
For example, there's a monument, and they would say you have to close a portal. So you would have to like stay there, scan it, and place like some sort of special crystal that would close the portal. So other fraction would open portals, and you would have to close portals, and then you would have this like beef with people walking around pointing at things. You have to figure out if there's like on your side or not on your side. So it's very interesting because where I used to live, I could actually, I was in the range of like three, let's say, portals or three monuments, and I could kind of close them from my house. So it's sit in my house and I would just point on the map. But then the privacy part that hit me later,
Yeah.
I was literally pointing on the map where I'm living because I'm doing this from my bedroom.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I have 17 portals open from like one place because you have to like log in and kind of place it every period of time. And I could do that from my room. So I was like, oh, why is this guy in the same place that no one can access in a building secured by like a door do that?
You remember back in like 2015 when Pokemon Go came out? People kept finding dead bodies because they were wandering around outside looking for Pokemon.
No, I haven't heard about that.
So basically, it was helping the police a lot because they kept finding missing dead bodies.
Wow.
Just because they were exploring areas they wouldn't normally go to.
Wow, people actually accomplished their STEM goal. Well, I have another part about like where it's moving now. So projections, potential, and practical considerations when it comes to basically augmented future, be it AR or VR.
Yeah.
So the mobile AR market is projected to grow from 50 billion, which is in 2025, to basically 10 times more, over 500 billion by 2034.
Damn.
Also, in app-free future, so web AR is a game changer, allowing users to access AR experiences through a web browser, removing the need to download an application, for example. So, but that's where I mentioned that the server capacity and kind of clouds having the speed and the capacity to basically process this information, like moving, let's say, in this, when someone's selling a house, as I said, 360 camera representation of that apartment. So that's something that can speed up that adoption. The AR cloud, the ultimate vision for AR, is a shared persistent digital map of the world, aka digital twin, that allows digital objects to be placed there permanently. We had even a client in Dubai, AR spatially, whose whole idea was to have a AR world of Dubai map where you as a brand can position yourself in there. So that means if you're a Lamborghini, you're like, you know what I'm going to do? Burj Khalifa is going to have my logo spinning there on the top, and anytime you point there, you will see us like using this app. So it was very interesting. And obviously when AR gets a brain, AI, so the AR and AI will lead to hyper-personalized and predictive experiences, such as AR systems that anticipates your needs, right? So if you put your glasses right now that are being released of augmented reality, and you walk down the stairs, there's like, oh, he's going to the fridge. Let me tell him what he should cook, for example. Or he's doing, so like it will anticipate your actions based on what the AR camera sees. But that's a privacy violation again, because it's going to see everything I have and it's going to upload it to the cloud. No likey. So, and the biggest hurdle is trust, because obviously, as I mentioned, privacy, and it relies on device constant scanning of personal environments, which is raising the profound questions about data collection and security of the data. For example, the T app we have discussed in part 1, which you also have to go and watch, when we described that user data was leaked a lot.
Yeah, and especially with AR, VR, a lot more data can be leaked, even if they say it's going to be secure. It's going to be your face, your emotions, your everything inside your house, your credit card info on top of that.
Exactly.
Anyway, so a few more numbers this time for VR. Simplest VR applications can cost between 3,000 and 9,000. This is the base simplest.
Wow, I thought it would be more, actually.
Right? This is, but I think this would mean using stock assets, so you wouldn't have to hire 3D modelers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you end up using stock motions. The way stuff interacts will be very cliche,
or more basic,
or even just standing still. Not as much motion, a lot of only the user traveling. That kind of thing. So more complex applications with like furniture or for e-commerce, that we talked about earlier, like the IKEA app, it can be between 10,000 to 30,000, which still isn't a lot considering what e-commerce stores rake in. Right?
Which year is this article from?
Latest.
Yeah, to 2025. Wow, that's very cheap.
So complex apps and games, now that we're getting there, will start at 30,000.
Okay.
going up to like 85,000 for like a basic game that you can make yourself.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's 90,000 to 150,000 for something functional and the kind of stuff Alex usually downloads.
Well, I mean, I like to have fun with that.
No, it's good. No, like, but think about it. We just discussed how much Pokemon Go made. It made like $30 million or something, right?
Yeah, but how many people play it now?
I know, but it made that much.
Yeah, that's true. But like for me now, it's
Right.
it's always a question. It's like, okay, you did this.
Longevity, I don't know, but I've still seen people playing a little bit. Like they'll occasionally pop it open once a week and just be like, I'm just gonna go walk around and make this part of my daily walk.
It could
Right?
be. It's like a gamification
Yeah.
of your walk.
I've still seen it, but think about it. That's like 30 million, and that app does not cost as much as the more complicated VR games.
Fair.
Because
Good
all
point.
those models existed before. They were from the Nintendo games.
Yeah, so they could kind of migrate them probably.
Yeah. At least they wouldn't have to pay the designers for the initial concept again.
Yeah.
And
Fair
so,
enough.
A lot of that development wasn't so bad for them. And as far as it goes, the Slam application was probably the most complicated part of it.
Mhm.
Because having played it, it doesn't lag so bad as you think it would with like a billion users on it.
True. For me, like when I read all of this, I'm like, oh, it's such a rich history, so many use cases. It's also quite expensive, and like, why we do not use it that often? Like, if I look at my surrounding, I think I'm the only one who has a VR set.
Yeah, but there's a lot of interest. You like me and Alex had to other Alex had to borrow your VR headset for stuff.
Yeah, but like I understand it's an experience, but I haven't used it in a while actually. But the thing is, like,
It's a lack of support for the system. Like the problem is it's difficult to make this. There's not that much knowledge about it, and then like everybody who does have knowledge about it goes out of the industry to just do regular games and stuff like that.
or maybe it's like not. It was a niche initially, right? It was new technology, and now as it common, they're like, oh yeah, we know that you can play games with that, but people don't see other applications with
Yeah.
it. So I think it's a kind of implementation cost and accessibility to it. That's the first thing. Say, I need to buy a device, or I need to develop. As you read, the costs are quite high for some of the like actual applications. Or like, how can I keep the users, right? Is the content quality and user retention there for my use case for a business? Because you're not gonna buy a couch every day.
I know.
You're not gonna use it every day.
There's a fantastic video by Folding Ideas. Dan Olson made this video, and he talked about, it's called "The Future is a Dead Mall," and it's entirely about how where VR lacks as a performing market sort of technology. And his main conclusion, one of the main ones that stuck with me, was everything VR they're trying to make VR do, computers do easier. Maybe not better, but easier. Like clicking something is much better than having to reach out and pick it up.
Fair enough.
And having to walk around in the space gets tiring for a bit. Whereas you can sit for hours in front of your computer. I don't know about you. I've done 14-hour computer sessions.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if I had to do that with VR, my neck would get sore. My hands would just be like, what am I doing? Fundamentally, it's all another problem with VR is they haven't made enough uses for it to have the versatility of a computer.
Yeah, so coming back to the same problem, just power, hardware.
Power, hardware, and then also just enough people haven't bought it.
And does it solve an issue?
Yeah. So if you had to go to somebody and say, oh, I want this project to be VR, and they're like, all right, give me a statistic on how many people will be using it. And then you present the numbers, you're like, well, you can get 10 times that for 10 times cheaper on this other platform. You can do it this way. You can get it on this sort of like, and you can't even micro-target stuff yet. There's no like, if you wanted to collect data, that's also very iffy because nobody knows how to do the data collection, even if they are collecting all your data,
Yeah, like, well, what's the use case for that?
What's the use case for that? And there's all these sort of questions. It's the issue of companies not wanting to try something new, but at the same time, there's not enough of a market for them to make it viable.
Yeah, so then we're
Existing market.
Fair.
Existing market that's different from potential market. So
Yeah. So now I'm kind of trying to summarize this of how it became from fun gimmick and just like trying things out into how businesses can implement that. So I kind of put 4 bullet points for myself that it's think utility, not just novelty.
Yeah.
Right, so how you can actually find this use case, and does the technology already allow that? For example, Meta glasses, right? Because it's like AI connected, it can film, it can listen, it can do stuff. But then when we're gonna get to a point where it will allow, and there's some glasses already on the market that allow augmenting things into it, like a text, or AI is scanning something and giving you right away the information about it, or whatever. Like that's the technology is just not there, and it's kind of there's no long-lasting value that comes from, let's say, whatever that AR is. That also prioritizing accessibility, and what you mentioned I really like, for like maximum reach, businesses should use the web AR solutions, right? Because building a website and making it a click is much easier than putting a headset or pulling your phone and doing these like weird things that are taking much more time and more complicated.
On that point, they're gonna have to find some way to make it easier, you know?
And a use case.
The language is still not set, you know? Every system has its own language of usage, right? There's a reason you don't do too much typing when you're playing on console, right?
Yeah.
You avoid typing, so they have shortcuts. You press select and something, and you open up another menu. You press R1 and then another combination of buttons. You get that sort of thing. The VR games, there's so few of them that they haven't developed a language for that. Yeah, same with the menus inside the apps. So there's no like set consensus of what the language of VR should be. Right?
Also, maybe not a language. What popped up in my head is just a user journey, right? So like, oh, the user journey in the game using a joystick, you're like, it's this combination. On your PC, you're like, oh, I can click whatever Windows button and then jump into something. On the Mac, you can do command space and jump into something.
Yep.
In other places, like an entire user journey of like, I'm going to go grocery shopping in my VR, and then it's going to be a recreated model of my grocery store where I have to walk around, put everything into my grocery bag, and then go to a checkout, scan everything, pay. You're like 50 minutes into the game, and then you're like, oh, I order things, while you can open an app and you're like, Uber Eats, pizza, add to cart, checkout, done.
Add to cart, checkout, and done.
Yeah. So the purpose of that is just useless. Like it's not efficiency.
But that's what I'm talking about. The efficiency of modern systems and apps is so honed into how it happens on computers. That same revolution hasn't happened in VR.
Agree.
Like you going from game to game is also like select and point. There's a thing I like to repeat that Steve Jobs used to say, and I've done this on other episodes. He was like, no, I don't like styluses. Make it work with the finger. Because he understood the stylus is dorky. You have to pick up a thing from the side and then tap on another thing, and it doesn't exactly have the accuracy of your own finger. That sort of tactile thing is what a lot of VR games are lacking. And sometimes to select something, you have to go like, shoot at it in the VR game, and it's always a little bit clunky because you can't even see your actual hands.
Yeah.
And there's just a little bit of latency on the VR headset for your fake hands.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's true. So this is very interesting. I totally agree with you that the user journey is just not figured out yet. I think as soon as I can maybe have some sort of lenses that, or like some sort of, I can put it in my eye and then it would overlay whatever I need, but then it would be easy.
But that's the gamble Meta's trying to take with those Meta glasses. They're trying to be like, this is so much more tactile, so much more functional in the real world. You don't have to walk around with a headset.
Yeah.
And they're trying to capture both ends of the market, because the VR side is going to be, this is something they can use at home, and this is something, and the glasses are going to be something they can walk around with.
Did you see Google is actually releasing a VR set that they say it's going to be like cheap and super affordable for everyone?
Huh. I mean, when Google is the one company I trust when they make that kind of claim. I don't know if I trust them, but I trust them when they make a claim that something's going to be cheap. because most of the time when they release something, it's free.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, but they also want to open up this like a development pipeline into everyone to make it affordable, so everyone can
Yeah.
use it, and everyone can build it. And they're like, this is going to be an open marketplace for you have Android games on your phone. That this is going to be a VR marketplace for everyone. So like
Yeah.
from Meta and Apple, because Meta has their own, Apple has their own, Google hasn't joined the game yet.
But speaking of that, I mean, Google usually waits. You know,
Yeah,
they jump in. They've been taking weird lateral moves that work. Like, for example, that's going off topic a little bit, but they've been taking lateral moves that work. Like, who thought there was a need for something like the Chromecast,
true.
right? I didn't think there was a need for it. Now, like, oh, they just let you use your apps on your TV, and it's much easier to navigate stuff, and at the same time they get to have your data.
That's true.
About what you're watching. You know, this is the sort of thing they do with their hardware, where you're not sure what the implementation is going to be, but they find a way to hook you in. And at the same time, what Google is doing also touches on one of my big gripes, and you hear me say this all the time, which is people do not have enough disposable income for like buying the $3,000 Apple headset,
And then walk around with it in the city.
and then walk around with it, or to buy the Meta glasses. Meta glasses were also pretty expensive, right?
It is, yeah.
And this is an issue of disposable income, and everybody's like, "Man, I'd rather just buy a $70 game."
That's true, because it's much more simple, convenient, fast.
Convenient, fast. It's not unknown territory.
Exactly.
You know it'll, well, with games you don't, but you'll have higher confidence that it'll work, because I know day one launches are getting worse and worse, but still,
Yeah.
at least you'll know it'll be a game.
Well, I feel that at some point I will not step away from this. I'm less of a AR person and I'm more of a VR person, because then I can jump out, let's say, from sitting behind my screen where the AR now is moving.
I mean, technically Google Maps is AR.
That's true.
You know, we're all using AR much more widely than we think.
That's true. But I find it much more interesting for me to kind of get into the VR world, because just, yeah, it's like you go away from reality, and that's something interesting, new, and engaging for me.
Yeah, no, I find VR fascinating, but from a distance. I'll buy it when there's a game that'll really hook me.
There's so many, by the way.
I know, but I played a whole bunch of them. But first, my head keeps hurting. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's true. So that's like the biggest one, and you never know. You're gonna buy a device for 1,000 euros, and then you put it on. You're like, "Well, actually, it makes me sick after 5 minutes." And I had people coming over who tried this, and they're like, "I need to sit down." They sit down. They're like, "Nope, I'm feeling sick." Like 10 minutes in, any game, doesn't matter if it's walking or sitting or whatever, puzzles. They're like, "I can't."
Yeah.
So their head like gets messed up. I'm lucky enough that I don't have that, so I can do whatever, jump off a plane in the game, and I don't care, or do like backflips or whatever. It doesn't hurt me. Others, yeah, I can't. So yeah, the level of entry. So it's interesting. So in a nutshell, if you are interested in VR and AR, you have to try it. Like maybe you don't even know you already use AR in your life, which you do, and if you had never tried VR, you should, because it's fun. Do you have anything else to add?
No, not really. I think that we've covered a whole bunch of stuff, and this is such a broad topic, you can't cover everything about it. We might revisit it, but for now, I'm pretty satisfied with the run-through we did.
Yes, we talked about history, we spoke about use cases, we spoke about money, we spoke about conveniences and conveniences, and yeah, if you enjoyed, follow us, like, comment, listen more. We've seen some Spotify statistics that actually are not that satisfying. So please download on Spotify so we see that you're actually listened. And yeah, thank you very much for listening, and until next time.
See you.
Peace.